What's up, gamers? My name's Scyushi and we're back giving some more Trove to Trove, and I thought today we would end up doing something that we haven't done in a long time. Me actually recording myself going through Shadow Towers. But here's the trick here, folks. First of all, we're going to be using a mod on PC, which is awesome. That is pretty much like a Shadow Tower HUD change, but it also lets us just skip to Daughter of the Moon without having to fight like every boss in a row, which is absolutely awesome. But there's like nobody online right now, so I thought it would be interesting to bring us back to the good old days. We're going to end up soloing this here, gamers. Now, arguably, Daughter of the Moon is not really the strongest boss in the game. Obviously, Dreadnought is going to end up being the strongest Shadow Tower boss, and you know, I can solo that as well. Possibly, I could end up doing a video on that if you guys would like. But for the most part, I gotta get my Shadow Towers out of the way, and I wanted to show you guys just how powerful you can end up being on the Draco, because he's pretty much my go-to character for Shadow Towers. I already have a video talking about the best classes in Shadow Towers, and in my opinion, I would go with the Draco, especially if you do solo stuff like this. You know, Gunslinger, Ice Sage, there's lots of other characters that you can end up using successfully in Shadow Towers, but Draco is just the easiest, I find. You know, he's really quick and easy to get into it, just because you're gonna have a lot of survivability because you're Draco babies, because of your class gem ability is going to end up taking aggro from enemies. Yeah, so that's going to end up making your life a whole lot easier, just because you can have 6 of them out at a time. You're pretty much just spamming your number 1, throwing down your Draco babies, and well, you just keep blowing them up, which does like absurd amounts of damage in general, right? So I'll show you guys my stats. You'll have to excuse me if I sound a little congested, because in all honesty, I'm a little bit sick, or still sick, I should say. The ROM 10. Yes, disgusting. So my stats that I'm rocking is 1.8k crit damage, which is pretty much the max that you want to go for. My crit hit is a little too high. The reason for that is because I will often actually cycle off, like these are pretty much my strongest magic gems, and I'll usually cycle them off of my Draco onto another magic character, and that's why I have a little bit of excess crit hit, which, I mean, I even have a level 5 ring with health regen. Like, ugh, I don't need that. That's disgusting. I don't even have a crystal 3 staff. This is so sad. I could be way stronger. But my magic damage is at 150k base, and then with the added damage, we're at 570k. Yikes, I should have a bit more crit damage instead. Ugh. I really gotta get my hands on a crystal 3 staff, dude. But, I mean, even though Draco could be, like, I could be using this guy very successfully in, GEODE topside, but he's not going to be the fastest, that's for sure. You see those catapulting enemies? Actually, before we talk about them, you know these guys? These guys are called Licorice Lashers, right? They are going to end up being in the candy biome and then reskinned for most of the Arid biomes. If you guys can see them, there's a lot of chaos going on right now. Chaos! But when they spin around, fun fact, they actually increase their armor stat and are like way more defensive for some reason. And then these guys right here, these catapult enemies, I'm sure you guys have seen reskins of them all over the place. Most notably, you'll find them a lot in the volcanic biome. They're actually the hardest hitting enemies in the entire game. Yeah, they pretty much just take down a pot every single time. So we're also rocking Death Defying, obviously, and then Arcane Emblem and Unyielding, just so that we can end up being that little bit of extra strength. And I'm rocking the Chronomancer Cubesley, obviously, because it gives me cooldown on my ultimate ability, and when we use our ult, we're pretty much just 10 times tankier. I should actually be using my pots and going through this as quick as possible, just because of the fact that whenever we end up casting a pot, we're using our arcane, which is going to help us out a lot for the Shadow Towers. I didn't want that item. Thank you very much. But yeah, I thought this would be an interesting video for you guys, just because I know we got lots of new people coming in on the channel. I mean, we don't have the most new people coming in, just because Trove's Trove. This is the way that it is right now. And then, I guess I should mention, just in passing, I did end up getting an official email back about the Leviathan update. Nothing new. Pretty much them saying that they're really, you know, they're frustrated about it too, guys. Like, in all honesty, you know, they're really struggling with trying to get the servers under control. I mean, you guys saw with the Shadow's Eve event how laggy it was. they're trying to fix that so that that doesn't happen and the servers crash when the Leviathan update comes out. So I can understand what they're going for, especially because, I mean, you think about it. That's something that's called quality control, which is something that Tryon Worlds never did. Like, they would just release an update and the servers would crash like over and over again, and we were just used to it at that point, you know? So on one hand, it is a little bit frustrating, but at the other hand, it's like, I mean, the update will come out when it comes out. Hopefully by the, like, before the next year. That I would say they have to do. If they don't have it come out before next year, I mean, that would just be sad, you know? I don't know why these guys, oh, because we're in a Shadow Tower dungeon now. So those other Shadow Towers that we were doing, those were Shadow Tower arenas. Yes, there's a difference. A Shadow Tower arena is just going to end up having the wave defense right in the middle, whereas this is going to be a Shadow Tower dungeon where you're actually going through sort of a labyrinth and actually fighting a couple different objectives, even though it's ultimately going to end up having the same results. The difference being is that a Shadow Tower dungeon is going to end up having a lot more elite mobs and just random enemies and stuff like that, and ultimately is going to spawn way stronger enemies. So you can see, like, even this guy, I mean, look how tanky he is. He's just a beast. Hopefully we can get through Dot, like, no problem too, by the way, guys, because soloing her can be a bit of a trouble. It can be a bit difficult when we're playing as Draco, because although I have videos in the past, like I soloed Daughter of the Moon on like my Vanguard, for example, and that's no easy feat. Not because it's difficult, because it's really, really time consuming. You pretty much got to be in ranged mode the whole time, and pretty much any ranged character, so long as you can outrun Dot's attacks, you're going to end up surviving no problem. Like, you'll be able to solo her easy peasy. The trick is, are you moving fast enough that you can end up dodging her? Whereas we're playing as the Draco right now, so what we need to do, excuse me, what we need to do, here is the goal. We're trying to end up doing enough damage to her, hopefully, that we can end up just absolutely blasting through her first few phases, and then we can end up just being, it'll just end up being no problem. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and get like a couple of my Draco babies. I should actually have, maybe I should have one of my energy regen flasks on or something. Oh my gosh, I forgot I had this. It's like a weird meme mod. It's supposed to be, I don't know, it's oddly enough, this is a weird try-hard mod where it shows Dot's hitboxes, but at the same time they made it all memey, which I absolutely love that. You know, I love the people that are at the end game and don't take it seriously. Ow. So fun fact, we can actually just circle strafe around her and she'll never end up hitting us. The problem is, do you want to be circle strafing around her like all the time? I mean, she hit me there, but all of her power attacks won't end up actually hurting us. And more importantly than that, even if she ends up hitting us with one of her basic attacks, it doesn't really do that much damage or anything. What we can do is this kind of tap, 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 tap over and over and over again, because that really messes with the AI in this game. Because the reason why we're trying to do as much damage as I said, guys, and rather than just draining through my pots right now, is because we are slowly losing out on all of our pots right now. So that's why we have to get to the phases where she's more vulnerable, or should I say where she barely damages us, and then we're going to end up being fine. Like, her gun phase is pretty good, you know. She's got that attack right there where she swipes to the left, and then she's got her charge shot, which that one's no problem so long as we keep doing this slow tap of the right click over and over again, just slowly strafing. Because if you strafe in a straight line, the way that ranged attacks work in this game, usually the shots will end up anticipating you, right? So long as you walk in a straight line. But if we're circle strafing, and that is requiring mouse input, then the game doesn't know how to deal with it. I just like tapping it just because it really messes with the AI, or lack thereof. I mean, can you even say that there's much AI in Trove? Not much, in all honesty. But this tactical work with any ranged character in the entire game. One of the quick, easy things you can do is just dance back and forth, because what Trove is actually doing is, rather than there being some sort of AI where they're trying to aim where they think you're going to be, Trove quite literally will have them aim where you are going to be. So if I'll show you guys a prime example when she ends up doing another charge attack. So if I just strafe to the left, pew, she's gonna shoot where I was going to be. So that's the only way that you can end up dodging that, is just by walking out of the way. So now we gotta get away from her gun. Unfortunately, you know, she doesn't aggro towards our little babies, but this phase is pretty vulnerable. That right there, where she draws on the ground, you know, just because it's been a long time since we did like a proper talk about Dot and all of her phases and stuff like that. But when she draws on the ground like that, that is going to one-shot you even through Death Defying. There's only a couple attacks in the game that actually end up doing that, so you really got to be cautious. But we're almost at that 50% mark, so easy peasy. No problem, lemon squeezy. It's super duper easy. When we get her to her last phase, she's a joke, but this does kind of work on other characters, the difference being that the Draco just has a lot of survivability compared to most characters, and we can kind of keep our distance a little bit more than any other melee character could, you know, which you can still do this to melee her, but the difference being is that you're going to end up getting tagged by a lot of her attacks just because of the fact that other melee characters aren't going to be able to keep as much of a distance as we are right now. So now I should be good to just keep strafing around her. Sometimes you'll end up getting tagged, and that's the difficult part, is if you know, depending how many times you end up getting tagged by her, it's going to end up doing that much more difference. So you gotta watch out for that attack, because that's just AoE. Now we can literally just stand here, strafe to the left when she's about to do a laser, and then strafe back to the right, because all of her attacks are just going to end up being her shooting slightly to her left or our right. The only thing you really gotta watch out for is the chakra, and then anytime she ends up doing her laser attack, you literally just strafe to the left. Like, it's so easy, dude. So now we can start actually draining some of our pots and actually doing some more damage here, because she's just going down. Like, I don't care. Again, the chakra is the only thing you really got to deal with, most of all because they don't despawn. They'll just stay out. Like, you can actually, I remember we did it once, like, just for fun, a long time ago, me and the guys, like me and Merc, and I think Valor Warrior was there as well, and we ended up making it so that Dot had like tons of her chakras, like pretty much covering the entire room, and it lagged us out. Not to mention, oh, right, there was like a video a couple years back where we ended up doing, it was like 3,000 celebratory pinatas or something like that in Dot's room. And I remember, like, look that up on my channel if you guys, you know, I'll put a card in the top right of that video, just because that one was particularly fun for us, just because we used all of our pinatas and it was really good time. So you can see we got plenty of potions to spare, so I don't even need to worry about the chakras or even most of her laser attacks, because they're not really going to do that much damage anyways. Well, actually, they will do a lot of damage. It's just most of the time, like, the hitbox on them is pretty uggles. It doesn't really work. So that's pretty much Daughter of the Moon in a nutshell. I guess this will act as kind of a tutorial while simultaneously being us just fighting her. So you see right there, that already drains 2 pots instantaneously because of the sheer amount of damage that she ends up doing with her basic attacks, which is crazy. Now, there was a bug that I ran into once, more recently. I think I did that in a stream, where I went into this portal. All of us did, like everybody else that was in the Shadow Tower, and then this portal despawned. It wasn't there anymore. So I couldn't go back into this room to claim my chest. And then further than that, the game considered, like, when we've got Daughter of the Moon done, for some reason at the time, I couldn't reopen a portal to Daughter of the Moon. I had to start back at Spikewalker, which was disgusting, because I had to end up getting re-invited back to it. But anyways, I guess next thing on my list, in all honesty, should be trying to get my hands on a Crystal 3 staff, just because I would love to see how much more powerful I can end up getting my Draco, because, oh, that's gonna be quite a grind though. Jeez. Unless I end up getting really lucky. Possibly it could be the quickest Crystal 3 ever, but I'm going to probably start doing that pretty soon. Now, the other thing I gotta double check, do these have, ooh, yeah, see, so these gems aren't even, like, set up correctly. I mean, they are, but they aren't. Most of all, just because, yeah, these do not have, oh, they do actually have 3 rolls in light. This one doesn't, and this one doesn't. Ugh! Okay, well, I would have to end up getting perfect gems. I mean, at least I've got this one, but it being a Berserker gem is like, I don't know. It doesn't really make, you know, much of a difference. I'd rather have a Vampiric gem, so maybe I'll have to try and farm for that or something. Anyways, Thanks for watching, folks. Very much appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed this random special episode. Kind of a trip down memory lane for me because it's been a long time since I did a video of me just soloing Dot. Usually I'll end up doing this every week. Sometimes I'll end up doing it in a stream and letting you guys tag along. But I just wanted to show you just how easy it can be if you end up actually getting to the end game. Obviously, you know, this is long time that I've been at the end game. I've actually been at the end game of Trove longer than I've been at the beginning of the game, so I mean my perspective is pretty warped, honestly speaking, at this point. Anyways, smash like, sub for more, and if you guys want to support the channel, you can buy some of the merch. Just scroll down, or you can hit that join button down below to see some behind the scenes stuff. Sign on and stay epic, gamers.